Hello, everyone. Irlianna here, StarSound Speaks, and we are back again with episode 89. Oh my goodness. So for those of you who are new to the channel that are watching this on YouTube, there are 88 previous episodes, and you can find the earlier ones on iTunes and Spotify. And for all of you iTunes, Spotifyers, Radio Pocket, Pocket Casts, and all those wonderful, lovely other platforms. We're on 10 platforms. Thank you all for listening, and I'm always delighted to chat. So here's a little pep talk I'm going to be giving about the full moon coming up on Saturday in Virgo. So right now, as I record this, the moon is in Leo, and of course the conversation about hair, me being a Leo, hair, it's all about the hair, and I'm like freaked out because my hair is getting woollier by the week, and I have not gotten back, but I'm going tomorrow, finally, going to the hair cutter. I had held off because I was upset because when I was there last, a person having their hair wash next to me was not wearing a mask, and I'm like, hello, really? You can't keep the mask on with it? Anyway, sorry, no, don't want to go there. But anyway, being very concerned about that. But anyway, I cleaned it up, and I'm going to go see him, great hair cutter, in his shop before the shop opens. So I'm happy, he's happy, win-win for all. But yeah, it's the hair thing right now, you know, the moon in Leo. I feel like what was that? They just found some sheep that was abandoned out in Australia, and he had like 80 pounds of wool. You know, you've seen those where he's packed on, and it's so huge and out of control. And I feel like that sheep that needs to be shorn. You know, it's like all over the place. So anyway, hey, fingers crossed, getting my haircut tomorrow. And in other matters, that brings us to the conversation about the full moon in Virgo. So, you know, the moon, of course, the sun is in Pisces, and the opposite sign being Virgo. Things come to a head in the very emotional nature of the full moon. Whatever sign the full moon is in is going to give us a clue on, you know, what to be, don't get too overblown about. Well, in the case of the new moon in Virgo, I'm sorry, I keep saying new moon, sorry. In case of the full moon in Virgo, we have to, let's just be easier on ourselves. Let's not be nitpicky, overly analytical, little crazy, right? Mercury rules Virgo as it does Gemini, and you know, we can be a little mental and crazy. So our tensions and our emotions might be around thinking and overthinking, anxiety, you know, rehashing. You ever do that? Oh God, you know, rehashing things in your head over and over and over. It's like that we may have a tendency to do that with this new moon coming up on Saturday, which is 3:18 Eastern time and 8:18 a.m. European Universal time. You know, the effect of a new moon, it will build, and you'll feel it a couple of 3 days before, and then it'll peak at that moment, an hour, and then it'll kind of decrease. So it's just about being aware of that, and it's that dynamic tension with the sun. You know, the sun in Pisces is like, oh, let's just all love everybody, and then the critical mind is like, well, I don't know how you're gonna do that, you know, being too logical. But there's RXs and remedies, and so before I get into that, I'm just going to say the hallmark of this particular full moon. Of course, last week we had the first Saturn-Uranus square, which I, of course, have been talking about in previous videos and podcasts. The Saturn and Uranus, the big news of 2021, right? And the push forward versus, you know, the brake pedal, the gas versus the brake pedal, wanting to change. What do we hang on to that's good and useful, and what's old, and where are we hanging on to status quo? And where can we move and change, because we need to change, you know? So the Saturn-Uranus square first happened on, it was February 17th. Whatever themes went on for you in this last couple of weeks, you know, starting fresh, starting anew, thinking about community, certainly thinking about circles of friends. You know, Aquarius is our friends and networks and hopes, wishes, and dreams. So you know, creating a powerful non-linear paradigm freed from the past, right? You know, like the Uranus energy will come in and it's non-linear, it's quantum, you know, so quantum thinking, quantum breakthroughs in how we connect with each other, right? So that's what's available. And so we, whatever we experienced, and a lot of it could be tension too, of course. A square is forcing us to take action, and it's a conflicting feeling. Well, we're going to be experiencing that again 2 more times. And I get into this in, you know, deeper detail in the other previous episodes, so you can always look there. But just to FYI, represents it here, June 14th, it will peak again. At 11 degrees of Uranus in Uranus, Saturn and Uranus, around 11 degrees. And then at the end of the year, I think it's, hold on, let me just check it just to make sure, and it's 13. Hold on just a second. Oh, glad I checked. Okay. The next one will be June 14th, and Saturn and Uranus will be at 13 degrees of Aquarius and Taurus. And then the final fandango for that this year will be Christmas Eve. It will be 11 degrees. So if you have points and planets at 11, at 13 degrees and 11 to 13 degrees of the fixed signs, yeah, give it a couple of degrees on either side. So the fixed signs being Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio, right? So if you have planets at those points, then you will really feel the dynamic push for movement and forward movement with this incredible opportunity here with the Saturn-Uranus square. So anyway, just wanted to present that for you. So we just had our first last week, a week ago, and then, like I said, again, we'll be revisiting these themes. Whatever you experienced in the last couple of 3 weeks will presence itself again, or strongly late May, early June, and then peaking again on the 14th, and then again early December, peaking on the 24th of December. So, all right, so having said that, let's see. What else do I want to say? This particular full moon, excuse me, is, of course, the Saturn-Uranus square is still very, very big and prominent. And so this, the full moon is in Virgo, and it's making a dynamic aspect there. And so, and the moon, you know, the moon in a mundane chart, the moon rules the people. So it also rules our home life, our home families, our emotions, you know, all of these things. So these are the things that are, you know, coming up. But anyway, the full moon is making, in astrology, we call it an inconjunct, which is a tension-filled aspect. It's not an opposition. It's kind of like, I call it the broken umbrella, like one of those rods in that umbrella that, you know, those cheap umbrellas that we know we shouldn't buy, but we do because we need it in a pinch. And one of those rods goes off a little weird. Well, that tension, you know, that rod that kind of can poke us in the face if we're trying to use the umbrella, right? It requires compromise. So this, I liken it to that. So the full moon is making a broken umbrella aspect to the Saturn and Uranus square. So it's just saying, hey, a little compromise, there's some tension there. And our overthinking mind, our over mental mind might be, it could be interfering with the dance that Saturn and Uranus are you know, still working out, you know. So just to, you know, the message I'm getting strongly here is, you know, be kind to ourselves. You know, that beautiful Pisces sun energy is like kindness and compassion, and don't think it too much, right? Just be in faith, be in trust, don't overanalyze. Great RX would be to go out in, you know, Virgo is an earth sign. It's the sign of, you know, the divine goddess. So going out and earthing, put your feet on the ground, even if it's in a cold climate, you know, you could, unless you're in like the Yukon territory, you know, even if you ran outside for a minute. I remember years ago, I went to an ashram in Massachusetts, and it was this really cold morning, and there was frost on the grass. And I went there for a weekend, and the residents were out of their beds and bare feet, ran outside, had the blanket around their shoulders, and were standing on the ground, just like watching the sunrise. for a few minutes. And I'm thinking, wow, that's awfully uncomfortable. But hey, you know what? I do that now. And even if it's cold weather, I just, takes a few minutes, but it feels really good. So that's a good RX for this full moon, right? Stand on the ground, be grounded, connect with the earth. Virgo rules pets and plants, especially small pets, so cats and dogs, pets and plants. Talk to your plants, nurture them, tell them you love them, connect with your pets and connect with nature in general. Maybe buy yourself a new plant, nurture it. It's a very great way of the balance and the energies, these intense energies of change occurring on the planet at a very rapid rate, right? We've got Jupiter in Aquarius as well. Zoom, let's move ahead with all that technology. And, Saturn, Uranus are like, okay, Saturn especially, I don't know, is this so smart? Like, let's be smart with this. And Uranus wants to rebel and get crazy. So this is a good time to just reconnect with nature over the next few days, especially with this full moon energy to give us that RX. Since Mercury rules this particular, since the moon in Virgo, Mercury being communication. So what about chanting and singing to the earth, singing about the divine goddess? Sing anything, but I love mantras, yoga mantras. So they're always can't lose with that, right? The liberation mantra, you could Google that up in the search bar, but the liberation mantra is an amazing one for freeing ourselves from the ego. Who couldn't use that, right? So those are my little list of remedies here. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's just about it. Oh, okay. The moon in Virgo is highlighting issues of health and hygiene, our food, our nutrition. So, maybe we might be stressed out from being overly emotional. Well, we'll often want to, comfort food with a full moon, but what's nice is maybe we could eat healthy food. You could binge on that. Plants, being vegan, the bounty of the earth, the bounty of nature, to enjoy and embrace that. So these are just some ideas. Let's see. Find comfort in that. Virgo also rules our daily service, our work, our day jobs. So you might be feeling some tension at these next few days as the full moon is making that tense aspect with the Saturn-Uranus square. You may feel like, I've had it with my day job, I'm quitting, and we can definitely get overly emotional, but we want to be grounded and think about that and, go out in nature and ask a tree, ask nature and ask your higher self, what's the high road here? And so taking time to ground ourselves is, and even sometimes it even means eating like root vegetables, like carrots and turnips and sweet potatoes and, things of that nature, because that's very grounding. So anyway, some ideas here. Let's see, anything else? I think too, we saw with, I just want to say in mundane astrology, the Saturn-Uranus square, when we saw it happening, just jumping back to that for a moment, when we saw it happen in the last week with the first of them in February 17th, well, what did we see out in the world? Well, that whole thing happened with GameStop, with the stock market, all the stock market investors got real scared and all these people grouped together to come together. It was very Saturn-Uranus. We the people, coming together to, to say, hey, it's like a David and Goliath thing. We're not going to be under my thumb anymore. We have a voice and we want to speak up and have change. So look for more of that. Again, later in the year, especially in June, there could be another place of stock market volatility with the Saturn-Uranus square at 13 degrees. So anyway, that's just a little, and then again, December 24th, these are sometimes we'll see things like that in the collective. I found it interesting too that Harry and Meghan officially announced, no, they're not going back. Well, that was not a surprise, right? They're not going to go back to their palace duties. They signed this humongous deal with Netflix and, broadcasting. I think it was Spotify. God bless them, right? And how perfect is that? Saturn in ancient astrology is rules Aquarius and Uranus rules broadcasting, and Saturn is the new foundation. So their new foundation is broadcasting and reaching the masses with positive, visionary guests on their shows, and it's very exciting. So my hat is off to you, you guys, and congratulations on the new baby on the way for little Archie. So good things happening there. Wonderful example of using this energy wisely, really taking the time to think and plan and what's going to be available long after we leave the earth. What kind of legacy do we want to leave that's really helping people? So that's a good long-term conversation to be engaging in over the next several months, or really the rest of the year. So I think that's just about all I wanted to say. Let's see, just a second here. Yep, that's it for now. So when you see me again, hopefully my hair will be better coiffed and I will not look like that big woolly sheep whose hair is out of control. Me and the sheep are getting shorn, finally. So anyway, so that's all for now. And we love to hear anything you have to say. How are you doing with this as we approach the new moon? How are you doing with the Saturn-Uranus square? Leave your comments below, and in the YouTube box. Also reviews on the podcast platforms. It's all welcome. We love hearing from you. You can always shoot me an email too at Irlianna@StarSoundAstrology.com. So anyway, yay. All right. Happy full moon to everybody. And I wish you all the best. Many, many blessings. This is Irlianna Samsara with episode 89 of StarSound Speaks. Thank you so much for listening. Namaste.